Hi everybody, this is Evie, and I'm so pleased to have Tania with me today.
My privilege.
We are recording this from Steel City Kizomba Festival in Pittsburgh. My first question is the one that I ask in every interview. Tania, in your opinion, is Kizomba and urban two different dances or not?
Yes. it's a undoubtable, a complete different dance.
In a post you did on Facebook in 2016, you basically talk about the role that Kizomba played in your family. I'm just gonna quote you for a bit here.
Sure. Go ahead, I don't remember.
All we say is, just don't associate with Kizomba culture because it doesn't make justice to what Kizomba represents to us. It doesn't complement in any shape or form. This disagreement stops there. If urban disassociates with Kizomba, we will live happily ever after. So just to make sure that I understand this correctly, the conflict exists because of the wrongful use of the word.
Well, mainly, yes.
So the main point, urban kids, that's not Kizomba. Is that right?
Yes. Words matter to us.
Mm-hmm.
Our music speaks to us in the lyrics or even in the instruments that we use. So to us, words matter. So when we changed the dance and we incorporated it to be Kizomba, which was previously Semba, because of the music changing, and we started to dance passada, if you wish, into Zouk music or to, Cape Verdean music, whatever we were using, because of the music was telling us to dance differently. We called it a different name. That's what we called Kizomba. Another example, another layer that's happening now, it's the difference between Semba and Semba show.
Mm-hmm.
We also changed the dance. The dance is no longer the way Semba social used to be danced. Therefore, there was a need to change, to recreate a new name. That's why we now call it Semba show. So words matter, and they in our history, everything is word of mouth, right? And things travel all over the world, like we say. I'm in America teaching Kizomba, people are dancing Kizomba. So by stating and keep using urban Kiz as a reference or ramification of Kizomba, he would be known as such. So it's important to clarify that to us Angolans, no, it's not the same.
In today's class, you also mentioned that you get a lot of messages from your relatives in Angola.
Sometimes.
Who go to YouTube, I guess.
Yes.
And search for Kizomba. So what do they usually tell you?
So this it's not just YouTube, it's on WhatsApp now, it's or Messenger.
Okay.
All these videos of people dancing, mainly Europeans or Americans, but mainly Europeans, who somehow tweak the dance to either urban keys or even what we used to call Kizomba fusion, right? And which had a lot of body rolls or something, some elements that we didn't really consider appropriate for Kizomba. And then it's very common to receive message from our parents and families saying, stop teaching them, you're ruining our dance. I mean, the whole concept of teaching Kizomba to us is very alien. Anyhow, because we don't used to have a structure in how we teach. We learn organically. And if we ever had schools of Kizomba or Semba in Angola, was more to learn steps or new styles, was never to teach you how to dance, because dance we all do. Does that make sense? So
yes.
Talking about dancing, everyone dances because you watch parents dancing and you dance with parents. So from very early age, so that doesn't change anything. But so what they think is that what we're teaching, and they think it's us because they just know me as a teacher. They don't know that what happens is people get the wrong information and then they travel to their own cities and they start teaching, right? They start teaching the way they were taught or the way they thought the Kizomba looks like and try and replicate some of the things we do. And doing that, it gets diluted and the wrong information gets shared. But those guys are a lot better at networking than we are, because we don't feel that there was that need of recording ourselves and put on YouTube and selling, because we didn't have that ambition. To us, Kizomba is there, is always been there, is always will be there. It's not something we strive to market. Yeah. So whatever comes out to those social media networks, it's the Europeans dancing something that they call it Kizomba.
Gotcha. Right. So, and in a different post from 2017, you changed your tone a bit. That's what I caught. And I'm gonna quote it as well, so you remember. You're mentioning you're feeling nostalgic and thoughtful. I went for a long walk on the beach, and that's when it came to me. Please read with an open heart. Maybe the kids of the urban, it's about the people, not the music. Maybe the kids of the urban is there to remind us that we are all connected, sharing the same passion, despite our differences. Maybe, just maybe, the kids of the urban is a form of honoring Kizomba. That means to party, because we teach them that when we party, the world stops. Egos and differences don't exist. Nothing apart from the love for sharing music and enjoying each other. And that's exactly what we did at KHADE, Kizomba Harmony African Dance Experience. So my question is, just to make sure that I understand correctly, what exactly do you mean by the kids of the urban?
Well, what I'm trying to say, I was feeling nostalgic, like I said, because for the first time, I think I was in the same room sharing, and I've seen, and once you take the element dance, we become people, right? And that's what I'm saying. Maybe we should love more, you know. And I always say, one of the things I say a lot is Kizomba, the connection of Kizomba. If you take the social part of Kizomba, Kizomba will not work. To us, Kizomba means socialize, partying, getting to know each other. So that's what I was trying to say. I'm just tweaking words. I'm just playing with words in saying that. Well, maybe if we get to know each other, we won't hate each other so much. That doesn't change the narrative that I believe as far as the dancing is concerned. I'm just saying that there is possible to be in the same room, everyone enjoying their own thing, and call it whatever, you know, as long as they call it their own names.
Gotcha.
But there is possible for us to get all along and to all celebrate music and dancing wherever we feel.
So you're saying that Kizomba cannot really exist as just merely a dance without the socializing part. Billy and Monica were actually my very first Kizomba instructors.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, I used to live in Houston, Texas, and I did an interview with them as well, Kizomba versus urban. Their point is that urban is not an entirely separate dance.
No, that's right.
They actually don't use the term urban kiss, they call it urban musicality. Because if Kizomba never existed, urban wouldn't exist too. So in your mind, well, you already kind of answered this question, but do you agree with them?
Well, if he's gonna, okay, I do acknowledge that at one point Kizomba was the influence of urban at one point to start with. The hold was very similar. The principle of leading and following was similar as well. Okay. There's some elements to that that we could say. I can see how we inspired your dance into something just like Samba inspired Kizomba, just like inspired Tarashinha. You know, and however we still call it a different dance. This Tarashinha and Kizomba are the same dance. No, they influenced each other. Yes, there is no doubt about that.
So one dance influenced by the other.
However, the way that the urban kids that we see, I'm not very much of an urban kids.
But you have tried.
I have tried with
Which
Billy
I
once.
was really impressed
Oh,
that
thank
you gave
you.
it a try.
Of course.
You didn't just deny it.
Of course,
Like,
no. I would never be that kind of person.
Mhm.
I actually think more. There's more Angolans who do enjoy and celebrate urban keys.
Okay.
We're not like completely, we won't do one or the other. No, dance is celebration. Dance is it's how you feel, what you listen. But if we're going to talk about Kizomba, then we dance Kizomba. But if you're going to the thing, you see what I mean? It's when people are calling a different name or they're using a Kizomba network to sell their product because the word Kizomba sells.
Yes, and you had another post which I really liked. The scenario. What did you say? What if I would organize an event called Urban Kids Night? Charge 10 euros at entrance and then only play Kizomba and Samba all night. Would people be disappointed? So kind of, food for thought.
It really is as simple as that. If you call it Kizomba, then we expect Kizomba. If you call it Urban Kids, then people are welcome to do so. Or do an event where you say, like Billy and Monica do, who have both. And then they will play both. And then everyone, we also had Lambazook in the past. We also had the fusion, like Albir and Sara used to be dancing, Felicien and Isabelle. There's other names of, this is just one to come. We could not really see ourselves in the dance they were dancing. But I could tell that there was, slightly different from our Kizomba, but they call it fusion. And then the minute, okay, fine, it's a fusion thing that you guys did with something else.
As long as it's
no
called
problem. As long as you call,
something else.
because words matter to us.
So Tanya, imagine I'm completely new to the scene. Like I have no really idea what Kizomba is, and I come to your classes. This is my very first Kizomba class.
Sure.
What would you do to make me realize how deeply Kizomba is connected to culture? Would you recommend a book? Would you recommend a documentary? Would you tell a story from your childhood?
That's what I usually do. Unfortunately, if we want to call it that way, our African history, especially when it's regard to dancing and music, it's not recognized as art yet. Therefore, even though we all celebrate, we all do it, we all love it, it's not something we take it as serious as we should. Therefore, even though it was tools that we used, they were very powerful tools that helped in the liberation of our country to get independence, and through the music we find lyrics that raise awareness of the social differences that we experience in Angola, or whether it's talking about the story of the immigrants or the refugees that went to Portugal and to other countries in the hope of a better life, and that mourning the fact that they lost their family and they had to leave their families behind. Even though we do that, our history is still very much shared by word of mouth. It's our stories are word of mouth. Mm-hmm. So most of my classes are with stories. I usually say, if I don't take my family, my brothers, my sisters, my mother into my classes, then it won't make sense. And Kizomba, it's the main reason I teach Kizomba is the memories I had with my dad alive. He passed when I was very little, but I have memories of dancing with him. So most of us will tell you stories. We'll either tell you what the music is saying, we will either tell you, where I used to dance, we will tell you something relating to whatever I'm going to be teaching and putting into context of a story of a memory that I might have. But yeah.
That's great. In yesterday's class, there was one moment that really spoke to me when you told us to raise our hands and then pretend that you're happy. And
yes.
You did that on purpose.
I did.
And then basically your main point was to dance from the point of gratitude. Could you share a bit more so that we could share with more
Well,
people and maybe I could speak to them as well?
So the way the Kizomba and the dancing scene is evolved or developed in the Western, like being Europe American, it's a little bit of a replication of what was happening in salsa. People took interest in the music and in the dance. Then the people started to create the structure on how to teach.
Okay.
Then people would pay money to go and learn steps, right? And let's say the very good teachers and the ones that they care, they travel to Africa, they travel to Angola, they learn the dance, the music, and they would bring that information. But unfortunately, things were leading too much into the focus in the dance and in the music, as far, because you guys don't understand the lyrics sometimes, as far as the beat and the musicality side of it. But with what was not talked is about the cultural side of it, and I keep saying that those stories, what it represents to us. Even if the lyrics, like we were dancing Zouk and we don't understand, even if he always takes us back to a moment. And to us, dancing is a form of release. The performing is celebrating to us doesn't necessarily mean happy, joyful. That's the same connotation that is here in the West side. We can celebrate someone's death. Yesterday I played a song by Bangão. By playing a song, I'm celebrating his life, and from a place of gratitude for his work. And I know this happens, but the way we observe music and dancing is it's for the moment. We use that moment to heal, to mourn, to be happy, or to celebrate or to cry. It doesn't matter. But that moment, more than anything else, we are very present. We are present, we are whole, and we are complete. And it's about sharing. It's about that moment. It's about that precise moment. So I usually say that the biggest difference between Western women and the Africans is you guys come on your flats and then you change into your heels.
Yeah,
and you are very
really
technical,
like
very technical in the way that you dance. Very, very clinical in the way, very too hard on yourselves and trying to be good and to be perfect and to perfect the dance, because you spend a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of research into this dance, but you fail to understand what we feel. And what I was saying is, as long as you would put too much emphasis on a dance and not in the way that we feel, and if you're never going to understand how music feels to us, you're only experiencing about 20% of what this dance is. The difference is you guys come on your heels and we flats and change into heels. We are the opposites. We come on our heels
to impress your crush.
To impress the crush, to impress, to create an entrance. But when samba comes and the music speaks to the heart, the first thing we do is take the shoes, put the hands on the heart, put the hands to the floor, and we dance from the place of gratitude, literally. Like I said, grateful for that moment, grateful for the dance that we have, grateful for the music that we have, grateful for the people you're in that moment. And we don't really care how we look like, or if anyone is looking at me, or if I did a mistake, And that's what I would like to pass on a little bit more. It's to have that joyful happiness feel that we Angolans have when we Angolans/Africans have when we dance and when we celebrate music. It's more of a place of gratitude and connection with the music and with one another, as opposed to worry about being so perfect in performing the steps.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.